Welcome to the channel. Let's take a look at how we can create a money loop using this strategy. The 7 videos I have uploaded prior to this video was for this purpose. This will be a 7-session period or a 7-day period. It is most likely what suits you depending on your schedule on how you'd like to play the strategy. I will link the playlist for these strategies that are displayed in this video in the description. If you have been watching the previous videos, you will notice the 7 strategies that are laid out in this video. Starting from the order of progressions of each session, we'll begin with the Trident Strategy, Step 1 to Scatter Strategy, Step 2 moving on to Street Sweeper, then Step 3 onto Home Run, Step 4 Castle Defense, Step 5 Riding the Wave, and finally onto Control Spread Strategy. Let's take a look at how this would play out with each step. Starting with the Trident Strategy, I don't class this as the first step until I've completed this part, using a bankroll of $300 and aiming for a target of 100. Now once this target is reached for the session, what you'll want to do is bank the 40, and why I have it so that you bank the 40 is so that the total amount equaling 400 minus the 40 will leave us a little bit in the bank and pay for the next step. Okay, now on to step 1. The Scatter Strategy. As you can see, the bankroll for this session is $360 and we still have the 40 in the bank, aiming for the target of 150, and once that is reached we bank the 30 and on to the next step. Step number 2. Now this is where it gets interesting. We have the previous bank session totaling $70 and we have our bankroll for this session at $480. This is the cool thing about the second step, is when we bank it, reaching the target of this one at 200, now we have a bankroll of 480 and the target 200, totaling 680. We can bank the 260 from this. Now we have a total of 330 banked away, and we have our bankroll for the next step. From this second step, we have given ourselves a cushion to fall back on if we lose from this point. In the unfortunate case we do lose from here, we have a starting bankroll of 300 and a banked amount of 30, still being up from the initial bankroll. Just a few more steps to complete the loop. Step 3. 420 for the bankroll, target being 250 and banking $90. These are all flat betting systems. If you were to add a progression system to these strategies, it would most likely take all your bankroll, as some of these have a very high coverage and there would be no need for a progression bet if the hit rate outweighs what a progression system would do in the long run. Step 4. Castle Defense. I personally like this strategy as it covers a lot of ground with a very high hit rate. Due to the high hit rate, it can recover surprisingly well if you miss a spin. If you ever find that you get to this step, if you're trying this strategy, you will notice the banking now has become much larger. Bankroll at 580, our target 300, and banking the 400. If you get past this step, you will have banked an amount of 820, have your starting roll for the next step. We have also banked enough to start at the start again for 2 rounds if we need it, and I have a leftover banked amount of 220. Step 5. Riding the Wave. Pretty much the same here on out. Bankroll 480, target of 350, and banking the 330 if completed. Step 6. The final step, Control Spread. Loop is almost complete. By this point you should feel good because you have a backup just in case anything goes haywire. Bankroll of 500, target 400, and banking 40. Now we can take a look at what a successful completed loop would look like. You would have a totaled banked amount of 1,190 by the end of the loop, and you would have a bankroll you just used plus the 400 target you would have reached from the last session. This all totaling $2,090. Let's take a quick overview look at the strategies. Another thing you might notice is the target amounts I only raised by $50 each session, and the bankroll for each session didn't really go all up that much. Doing it that way showed a lot in what could be banked further into the steps. That is the loop strategy. If you ever get past the first loop, the second loop will be easier as you will know exactly what to do. That is, of course, if you stick to the plan. These are strategies I have posted, but you can use whatever strategies you wish to use or some of your favorites. Just keep in mind, if you're doing a loop like this, the sooner the strategy can pay for the original bankroll, the better, but have it within reason. You wouldn't want to start with a bankroll of $1,000 and try to hit that target in the first session. You want a starting point you can successfully jump off most of the time. Even though the strategies themselves weren't progressive bets, it's a good thing to try and compound on the bank amounts how I had them laid out. This is a game of roulette and anything can happen, but with a well thought out plan, you have the best possible chance of succeeding if you stick to it. If you ever want a more personalised one that revolves around a bankroll you wish to start with, feel free to message me. I'll leave an email address in the description, otherwise you can find it on the home page in the About section. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more out of the box strategies. As always, take care and have fun.